indicated that they're intending to purchase, which is another 9 acres. They already bought the 1 acre. And did you see the story in the Post today that they're in negotiations with Joe Sitt to try to buy his 10.5 acres? We think that's all great news. It's great news. And we get the very strong sense that the city is beginning to understand that they need to have control in order to enable this great destination to once again become the sort of place that we all want it to be. There are also tons of great assets there. I won't go through all the detail, but if you look at this larger region, there's already lots of great stuff, lots of great things to work with. So we're not starting from scratch. Certainly lots needs to be revitalized, but we've got lots to start with. One of the observations that we make when we look at these kinds of projects is, well, how do you get people there? Is it easy to get there? Right now it's too tough to get there. And there ought to be a dedicated train. We already have a track. And if we can figure out a way to get a train, perhaps one with this kind of fantasy and fun, we'll bring that many more people to Coney Island. And what about arrival on the water? I mean, you've got a way of bringing, perhaps with a bit of work, bringing ferries up to the creek. And there's nothing more glorious than arriving on the water. For those of you who have visited Venice, you know what that experience is like. So we think that can happen as well. But Coney's always been about dreams and magic. And what we asked the team to do was to think about the possible. And we recalled that for over the 100+ years that Coney has been in existence, it always has had extraordinary rides, innovative rides, first of their kind. And it seemed critically important in the rebranding and the reestablishing of Coney that there be something that just blows people's minds, that is a must ride, a must see, that everybody talks about. And so we put the silhouette of some of the existing rides, the Parachute and the Wonder Wheel and the Cyclone, this marvelous new structure that's not yet funded over the aquarium, and there's a new silhouette there. Hopefully it's intriguing to you. Let's go forward. And there's an idea here about this ride going through the air and maybe even moving through the clouds. And an idea about how does this ride get powered? How do we draw upon the wave energy that's right next door to us in order to drive the power that's necessary to make this thing wonderful? I'm going to now hand the mic over to George Seidman. George is a brilliant set designer. He designs operas, he designs rides, and he was one of the key thinkers and dreamers that helped to create this concept. George?
This is a photo that in many ways became an inspiration for the whole thing. Look at how many people are, millions of people on the ground, and that's what we would like to see again. And then other group of people kind of floating above all of that in a totally different, very contemplative mood. And in a way, that's the main idea of the ride. It's not a thrill ride. It's a family. It's a fantasy ride. It's a dream ride. And so there is a main idea, overriding idea, obviously, that has to be public structure, and then. And it's very much connected to the ocean. Again, Nick will describe that in more detail. But then the actual Coney Island, it felt, first of all, it has a lot of, well, not only it has a lot of memories and nostalgic feeling at the moment, but it has so many landmarks. It has a certain scale that cannot be violated. It has the spirit of these smaller spaces and private entrepreneurs and dreamers, and we want very much to capture that. And so what we're thinking is that we must create a mini city, and today the equivalent of what you saw, this 250,000 light bulbs, this dream on the ocean. Now we've got digital technology, and in a way, that's our age. So we dreamt of a so-called digital city. What it means, in a way, it's inspired by Times Square, but what we're saying is that all the structures conceivably could have a scheme that is programmable and all linked together. So first of all, one can create art. Graffiti artist can create graffiti that all of a sudden takes the whole city. You can go to the city and one day it looks like Venice, and the next day it looks like Marrakesh. It's an environment. And at the same time, of course, all the signage, and again, David will talk about this more, it has a very, very commercial base behind it, because of course that also will promote the sponsorship and the signage, very much like Times Square, which is an incredible economic success.
Another image, yeah. Well, you can see a little bit here at the top, the foil pillows coming off. This is then looking north at Surf Avenue and seeing some of the development north of Surf Avenue, seeing the it's kind of a composite that shows you some of the ideas. You see the famous Nathans, and then you see on top of it the digital city that Georgios was talking about, and how that sort of ties up the whole thing. And really the sense of development over on the north side being much higher density than what you have on the south.
Let me just add a very important vision for Coney Island. In a way, I think it's made of three parts. In other words, there is a big gesture of what we call the wave, which is a canopy and the ride, and the media cloud at the same time, relating to water. And what we're saying is that in the water, there is a technology now where you can actually put, also they're called wave, but they're actually fiberglass structures that produce energy and conceivably could provide energy for the entire Coney Island. And now David will expand on the fact that these are not just dreams, but in fact all of that has an economic basis.
Thank you. But you know, if all we did was talk about plans, it would just fall flat. So let's talk about action. So what are we talking about? Let's just quickly go through some ideas. We have ideas for parades. We have ideas for Christmas festivals. Why not just use some of the existing property immediately and do markets or junkies? There's all kinds of opportunities with food in the neighborhoods. Why not use the properties that we have or the buildings we have to do food festivals or wine festivals? Or ethnic festivals. There's such a rich array of cultures in this area. And the Shore Theater deserves another life. I can speak from my own experience that bringing the theater back to life unleashes enormous optimism. So why not see if we can't create a show that's about Coney, that runs every hour, cheap ticket price, but it gets people thinking about Coney and laughing and having fun and bringing their kids. It can also be used as a movie theater at a very low price. And then I have a personal favorite, which is I'd like to see a dedicated sing-along theater. This is a wonderful old building, and it's already given evidence of how you can program something immediately and start to create some life. And so we had another idea. So this is your vista, you know, and you can view this as unloved and open space, or you can start to think about, well, what happens if you start putting temporary venues here? Nick builds these beautiful temporary venues, and we could put one up to next summer and start bringing activities and bringing people. This next collage shows ideas, what kinds of carnivals and events and festivals could happen. So the steps that we're taking right now is to put together ideas over the next couple of weeks, to start to figure out, well, what could we do? What's possible? What space can we use? What buildings might we be able to adapt? How do we get something going starting in the summer? And it's our sense